There is a difference between a lake and a trench. Loch Ness is not merely water held by land. It is a fault line, a deep wound carved by glaciers, filled with peat, dark cold that swallows light before it travels more than a few feet. Stand at its edge, you will notice something. It does not sparkle like other lochs. It absorbs. In water that absorbs, things can hide. The Great Glen fault slices through Scotland like a scar. Earthquakes have trembled here. The place feels unsettled, even when still. Long before cameras, long before headlines, there were whispers. The Picts carved strange beasts into stone centuries ago. Long-necked creatures. The loch has always felt inhabited. The first written account comes from the Vita Columbae, recorded by Adelman in the 7th century. In 565 AD, Irish missionary Saint Columba was travelling near the River Ness. He encountered a group of locals burying a man. They told him the man had been dragged into the water by a monstrous beast. Columba, undeterred, instructed one of his followers to swim across the river. The water was cold. Halfway across, the surface broke. The creature rose. The text describes it as a water beast, vast, approaching with gaping jaws. Witnesses on shore screamed. Columba stood firm. He raised his hand. He made the sign of a cross and commanded the beast to retreat. The creature halted, then turned and fled beneath the surface. The account reads like miracle literature. This was not described as an isolated apparition. It was known. After Columba, the legend quieted. Not vanished, just quieted. For centuries, Highland folklore spoke of folklore creatures, but the loch itself kept its deeper name unspoken. And then a road was built. On the 2nd of May 1933, the Inverness Courier published a report from Aldi Mackay. She and her husband, John Mackay, were driving near the loch when Aldi saw something in the water. She described it as a whale-like fish, which rolled and churned the surface violently. It did not breach fully, it did not pose. The Courier editor referred to it as a monster. That single word transformed a local report into a legend reborn. Tourists began arriving almost immediately. The loch had not changed, but the way the people looked at it had. 2 months later, something stranger occurred, not in the water, but on land. On the 22nd of July 1933, George Spicer and his wife were driving along the southern shore near Dorres. Suddenly, something crossed the road in front of them. Spicer described a large animal with a long neck, around 6 to 8 feet in length, attached to a bulky body. He estimated the total creature at perhaps 25 feet long. He saw no limbs. He described it as the nearest approach to a dragon or prehistoric animal he had ever had. It moved slowly across the road and disappeared into the undergrowth toward the loch. This sighting was pivotal. It introduced the now iconic long neck image into the public imagination. After this, Nessie began to resemble a plesiosaur, and that image has lingered ever since. Before the famous surgeon's photograph, there was another. On the 12th of November 1933, Hugh Gray claimed to have photographed the creature near Foyers. The image, blurred and grainy, appears to show a disturbance in the water and something rising above it. Skeptics later suggested the image might have shown a dog retrieving a stick, but at the time it fueled the growing storm of curiosity. The loch was no longer quiet. Then came the image that circled the world. On the 21st of April 1934, Colonel Robert Kenneth Wilson, a London surgeon, photographed what appeared to be a long neck and head rising from the loch. Published in the Daily Mail, it became known as the surgeon's photograph. For 60 years, it stood as the definitive image of Nessie, until 1994, when Christian Spurlin confessed before his death that the photograph had been staged. The hoax was orchestrated by Marmaduke Wetherell, who had earlier been embarrassed by false tracks he claimed were made by the monster. The model was reportedly a toy submarine with a sculpted head. The most famous image of Nessie was theatre. But something important happened that day. Even after the hoax was revealed, belief did not disappear. On a cold night in early 1934, Arthur Grant, a veterinary student, was riding his motorcycle at around 1 a.m. on the 5th of January. He claimed he nearly collided with a creature in the road. He described a small head on a long neck attached to a large body. Grant said it slipped into the loch when startled. His sketch resembles the classic plesiosaur form. Unlike Spicer, Grant insisted he saw flippers. No photograph, just memory. But the reports were growing more detailed. In 1951, Lachlan Stewart photographed 3 humps breaking the water surface. Dark, aligned, moving. The image suggested size. On the 23rd of April 1960, aeronautical engineer Tim Dinsdale filmed a dark object moving across Loch Ness. The footage shows a hump-like shape cutting through the water, leaving a wake behind it. Later analysis by the RAF's Joint Air Reconnaissance Intelligence Centre reportedly concluded the object was probably animate. Dinsdale devoted much of his life to studying the phenomenon afterward. This was not a fleeting glimpse. It was captured on film. In October 1987, 24 boats equipped with sonar swept the loch in coordinated formation during Operation Deep Scan. Several large moving sonar contacts were recorded at significant depth. They were unexplained, not confirmed as creatures, not identified as debris. In 2018, a team led by Professor Neil Gemmell of the University of Otago conducted an environmental DNA survey of Loch Ness. The results, published in 2019, found no evidence of large reptiles such as plesiosaurs. However, the loch contained significant amounts of eel DNA. Could oversized eels explain some sightings? No eel of extreme size has ever been confirmed. The surgeon's photograph hoax should have ended it. It did not. That is the strangest part of all. By the time the confession came in 1994, Nessie had already embedded herself into culture. The image had travelled across decades. Classrooms, postcards, documentaries. The hoax revealed human mischief, because something about Loch Ness is larger than proof. The most persistent theory is this, that Nessie is a surviving plesiosaur, a marine reptile thought extinct for 66 million years. Long neck, barrel body, the silhouette matches popular depictions, but science pushes back. Plesiosaurs required air. A breeding population would require many individuals. Cold, fresh water differs from ancient oceans, and yet coelacanths were once thought extinct too, until one pulled from the sea in 1938. Deep water preserves secrets. Loch Ness is 750 feet deep, its visibility near zero. If a relic species survived anywhere inland, this would be a place to attempt it. Reports continue into the 21st century. Tourists capturing unexplained ripples, locals describing massive disturbances against the current, drone footage showing elongated shadows beneath the surface. Most can be explained, some cannot. The official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register continues to log reports annually. The numbers rise and fall, but they do not stop. Loch Ness is cold year-round. It is layered. The thermocline divides it. Sound travels strangely here. Currents move beneath still surfaces. Standing waves can cause unexplained movement. And yet, none of these explain a long neck horizon, or a body crossing a road, or footsteps reported along the bank. There are modern accounts of heavy movement in the shallows at night, unverified, unconfirmed, but repeated. Loch Ness provides perfect canvas, but imagination alone does not produce sonar returns or decades of consistent description. Something is happening, even if that something is misinterpretation amplified by myth. Imagine standing at the water's edge. No wind, no boats, no sound but your own breathing. The surface lies flat. Then, slowly, a swell forms. Not from wind, not from current. A shape moves beneath the peat dark surface. No splash, no drama, just the suggestion that something assessed you. Is Nessie a relic reptile? An oversized eel? A myth sustained by tourism? Or something older that adapted quietly while humans argued above it? The Loch Ness Monster persists because Loch Ness refuses clarity. It offers depth without transparency. And where transparency fails, legend thrives. And perhaps that is why it endures, because the most unsettling creatures are not the ones that attack. They are the ones that might.